Hello, everybody. Welcome to round two of the Garden State Open. Chris Vack, aka Nirvana Tool, here to give you some commentary on it. On the left, our player is Chris Vack. Look at that. I might know that guy. On the right, I also might know that guy. Good old Midge. So a classic Vack versus Midge matchup here. Both of us at 1-0. And we're running some different Warlords than we usually are. We decided to go a little bit more fun this round. So on the left, we have my Warlord, which is Duchess Brymin. Plays all fighters of all factions. The whole goal of this deck, draw out your deck, suit up, get the Ring of Piercing, and perform 1,000,000 melee strikes in one turn. And then on the other end, we have a custom art of Dorath Sadul. That custom art provided by Rogue Panda Art. Check him out if you want some cool alt arts. But Midge's deck is a traditional aggro deck. Play some low-level mercenaries, play some jackals, get leverage out of the order, whether offense or defensively, to put pressure on the ranks. And I'm trying to talk really fast because me and Midge play really fast. So he opens up with a good old Mass Blessing just to kind of give himself some added die percentage success. I don't even know what I'm just saying. But basically to make sure he can hit. Meanwhile, on the other end, I'm going to show actually the card that I have that I'm just using as my first action. I use this every game. Good old Borgin Ferris gets to look at the top 10 cards for Steed and then puts the rest on the bottom. So this is an interesting card, but it felt really at home in this deck because I only ran like 5 Steeds. 3 of them turn into characters. And then the other one is Griffin, one is Tranquility. The whole point is to just give me movement, but either way, it thins my deck. And I hear 7-card opening hands is really good just without having to even play anything from my hand. It's just, okay, let me use my action, spend this guy, and do it. So he's really super solid. So this deck, I'll talk about it a little bit. It's actually a Gracchus idea. He messaged me on Discord many months ago and was like, hey, I'm thinking about building this Duchess Brymin deck. Do you have any ideas? Like, he wanted to make it similar to the Bench Run In deck. So worked it out, threw out some ideas, and then eventually came to a final list, but then I don't think he ever played it in a tournament or whatever. But then when I was looking for a cool deck to play this event, I remembered that existed. And I really wanted to play Duchess because Duchess was one of my first Warlords. And if we were going to go very casual on this event, I wanted to kind of go there. But I was like, I can make her also competitive because this deck seemed very consistent. So I tweaked it a little bit from what Gracchus and I came up with months ago. And then, added in a few little flavors of the month, I would say. And then out comes my deck. So my deck wants to play Solitaire. Midge very much wants to go aggressive. So on his side, obviously we've just been playing some things. So we see him with a double Mass Bless, which is usually something you don't want to see for even an aggro player. You only really want one of those buffs, and then you want to have multiple characters. And I see him in his hand. He's got an Infinity's End and a Fiery Bolt. So he's got some offense, but he's real upset he doesn't have characters. Luckily, again, with my matchup, I'm not going to try and truck his army. So he's secure, but he still is just upset because he wants more pressure. Meanwhile, my whole thing, I don't have a great hand. I'm kind of taking a look at it. Like, I think I can kind of get something. Luckily, I have the time to do what I need to do, which is to just draw cards. But Midge is still going to kind of put pressure, and I always have to prepare for that bounce. So that's why I put a Griffin on Duchess, just in case he tries to bounce Borgin Ferris, because he's going to try and Ferris. He's going to definitely try and stun Brymin right away. But luckily, that's why I didn't really want to spend for that loyalties reward to draw 2 cards, but I needed it because my hand is that bad. And we see Midge with Sislik, the one character he drew for the turn. It's still a very solid character, especially with double Mass Blessing. Meanwhile, I go with Satusk, who's going to help me draw some cards. Obviously, with Duchess Brymin, who, let me pull her back up here. She can play fighters from any faction without loyalty penalty. And luckily, the thing that a lot of people like about Nothrogs right now is Satusk and Kargrag. So I'm able to play both of them very easily. And we see Midge still use the bounce in order to kind of move me up. In a sense, he prevents me from using Satusk, but I'm okay with that. It means I get to play good old Borgin again, and I'll be able to get some more. But I got Kargreg as well. Midge is kind of sitting there passing. But by putting down the card rag, I'm basically challenging him to attack me. But he still passes with the slick. He's like, you're not going to roll high enough. And sure enough, I don't. I mean, that's the slick is sitting there with an 18 AC, so that's pretty good. But 16 up wasn't that bad of a chance. So I switch out my Griffin for a Tranquility, which I'll get up here. Tranquility is actually a very fun card for a deck like this because it's just going to give you some extra survivability. Unfortunately, against those rats, it won't. It just gives you -2 AC, but it usually turns you ethereal, but obviously that's been MRP'd to be planner. So we're seeing an interesting card from me right now. I put a steed on Borgin Ferris. The Cobalt Land Dragon, that's definitely a card I need to pull up because people are kind of like, wait, what is that card? So it has a very distinct purpose in this deck. Cobalt Land Dragon, it's either movement, but at the same time, it has the order to, as long as it's ready, you can turn it into a character. And that's all this deck wants. It wants to play as many characters as possible to flood the board, to secure my ranks, so that I have enough time to draw cards. And so Borgin Ferris essentially just searches out for a character. I moved him up just to kind of clear up my ranks, and then I tried to do a riding check in order to make the dragon, because Borgin has riding, but I wasn't able to get it. So right now I'm feeling okay about where I'm at, and I was just right there deciding if I wanted to use Borgin Ferris to search for another steed, but I'm like, I think the odds on what I saw and what's in my hand, I'm like, this ain't great. So I put the Land Dragon on Satusk, and it's very important in this matchup because Dorath's bounce ability cannot return characters that have items on. But basically do that, I get some guys down, and that's it. And not too great. I discarded a Back Alley Tavern. He discards an Infinity's End. He's talking about how he's not really happy with his draw either. Me, I'm like, I was able to kind of survive, so I'm feeling pretty good. But it's still a ways to go. Usually I want to draw my deck turn 1, and the fact that I don't is very worrisome. So I figured right now I still need to mitigate some of this offense. So I use Borgin to kill the Slick, and it just take a strike off the board. That's all I care about doing right there. And we see Midge put down a level 4 character, which is the Avatar of Magic. And he uses his Warlord to play Wheel of Death. Now, Wheel of Death is essentially like another Mass Blessing. I'll work on getting that up right now. But because he is not a Necromancer, he will have to spend for it. But his hope is to then attach it to the Avatar of Magic so that he can now play it twice in one turn. So his guys get boosted. I'm like, well, this Cobalt Land Dragon, maybe he's got something going on, but he doesn't. So we see another Brymin, and then I'm like, okay, I'm out of strikes, I'm out of tricks. Let me start playing these characters. So Lost Bride hits the table, reacts, enters play, and draws a card. And Midge keeps going with the offense. So he goes, takes out Borgin. No more of those silliness. Jokes on him. I got the other one up there. So throwing up the Lost Bride just to secure ranks and to make room in 4, because I have a lot of level 4s in this deck. So Midge swings at Borgin. I don't know why we went Cobalt. I think he pointed at it. So I do that. I play another Lost Bride, draw another card. And now you can see the 2 cards in Midge's hands are very dangerous. We see a Paradigm Shift and a Jackal's Aboard. I think everybody knows what Jackal's Aboard does. So I will get the Paradigm Shift ready to go because we are not far from seeing it right now. So we see the Wraith going for the Devoted. And I talked over this, but turn 1 Midge swung at the Devoted without even reading what that card did. Rolled his dice and was like, wait, what does it do? And then I was like, okay, well, you just essentially just thinned out my deck. That's all you did. So I still got more Devoted. He swung at it hoping that maybe I don't have any more in there. Maybe I draw them. And that's the risk you take with the Devoted. But he knows he needs to break ranks. He does. And with that, I go to fix my ranks, and he goes, no, you don't. And moves my Warlord to the front, thanks to Paradigm Shift. Before in the legal rank, shifted up. I used to play this card all the time with Gravity Flux. It's right there in the background. So 2 card, first action, stun your warlord to the front. So this is just me, paying for my past sins. And I already get a wound on me from the Wrath. So seeing him move up the avatar, I'm still sitting there playing my solitaire game, but I'm just like, all right, let me hopefully get something going. But he then drops his last card in hand, which is a Jackal. And that is not good. That's going to be 2 strikes at my Warlord, 4 technically with Dorath. So I just got to hope that he rolls a lot of odd rolls. So I'm like sitting there like, what else I can do? I don't have any kind of defense or anything right here. A lot of my items are level 7, so I'm a little bummed. I'm just kind of trying to see if I can survive. But I really just have to hope I don't die to the Jackal. So Cobalt Land Dragon comes in. Jackal swings, hits. Jackal swings, and kills me. So game 1 goes to Midge, thanks to Paradigm Shift. Without that shift, I was feeling pretty good. And then in comes the shift. And just like that, momentum shifted. And that's how you get it, folks. So quick Warlord can go, especially in Ancients. So Midge takes the first game. We shuffle up. And we get to see how this is going. One of the things that we noticed and we were just talking about at the beginning of the matchup, too, is when you play it in person, the amount of time you need to get a good shuffle. Because my first round went to time. And then I had to set up the stream and then sit down to play Midge. And then, Bobby announced, okay, cool, round starting. Before I got like one like shotgun shuffle in. And then it was like, all right, cool, it's time to start. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to shuffle for 3 minutes, I now am playing a 42-minute game. So makes me think, I don't remember how we did that, but it was one of the things that all of us organizers were talking about for the Garden State Open. Just next time, like maybe we give like an extra 5 minutes for everybody to settle and get down instead of just kind of, all right, cool, let's go, quick. So just a little tip for organizers too, just what we noticed from this event. If you are going to do that, because there's a big discrepancy from online, which is an hour and a half rounds, but here it's 45-minute rounds, just like how it always was back in the days of AEG. But now we've become spoiled, and we have to shuffle. Shuffling takes time. It's not like online too. Like that's an hour and a half where all I have to do is press a hotkey and I shuffle my deck. Here it's like, all right, if I don't shuffle, especially with a deck where all I want to do is kind of draw my cards, or like something like the Devoted where I search them out and they're essentially going to be clumped together as they're dying, then if I don't have a good shuffle, then I'm essentially done for. Speaking of Devoted, let's pull that card up just so you can kind of see what that is in case anyone is unfamiliar with it. Obviously, it's from the Chosen faction. That was not a thing when Duchess Brymin was around in her heyday. So definitely a new addition, but it felt right at home with what I wanted to do, especially with cards like Rom the Cruel. And I see my opening hand, and I sit there, and I'm just like, oh, I'm done. I do not have a strong hand. I see a Devoted, and I'm like, this ain't good. I see a Maddie. I see a Cobalt Land Dragon. And I start off with a Maddie after he played a Baraz. Let me pull up Baraz for you. So right now I'm kind of like basically daring him to use it. What I wanted to do there was almost intimidate him and be like, yeah, you're not going to do that. And then have him think I was baiting him. I actually was concerned because if Baraz passes with marksmanship and kills Gunda, I don't get the meat at the end. And that's exactly what he does. He thinks about it for a while and is like, all right, let me kill this. I don't want you drawing cards. So I am now down my only lifeline, and I'm in trouble with this hand. It's how bad it is when I played meat at the end before I even went with Borgin to go try and do that. And Mage leads off with a Wheel of Death, so I know this pain train's coming. Let me go search for some steeds, see what I can get. I see some more land dragons. Stygian Wraiths swinging at my Gundas and just kind of really just point click and deleting those folks. So now I'm in this power eye. It's something I have to consider if he's going to bounce or not. So I decide, let me just Borgin and almost kind of bait out the bounce. I think I did that because of just what I saw with Jackals. And I was like, yeah, I said, if I get bounced here, whatever it is, what it is, especially with my hand. So, like, let me see what he's going to do. If he bounces Borgin, whatever, I get an extra use of the Borgin. Because it seemed like I was coming forward no matter what, especially with that army he's got right now after only a few cards down. So he's sitting here thinking, he's trying to see the path for the turn. Like, all right, he's sensing that something ain't right with me, just with how I'm playing my actions. So he's like, what else can I do here? So I go Cobalt Land Dragon, and then this is the point where he's like, all right, if that's your action and power, you are not in a good place right now. So he sits there, he thinks about it for a while, and then eventually we'll get to it. And they put it on. Ooh, he let me take back an action. Look at that. Puts the Land Dragon on the Ferris because I was like, all right, I don't want to be bounced anymore. But he drops a Jackals. He's like, all right, cool. This is go time. And this is not looking good for me. This is, his, and I just go with another Land Dragon. Like, this isn't going to be great at all. Jackals run to the front, and I had to sit there and essentially kind of try and bluff that I don't have a Devoted in my hand. Like, if I have two in there, then that's fine. They just eat Jackals. But I know for a fact that it's not a good situation. So sitting here thinking I kind of out myself that I have almost no chance in hell of surviving this. So it's just a matter of time at this point. So then I was like, let me get my Warlord up to the front. Maybe she'll be able to do something. So poor old Borgin doesn't get to use that Land Dragon, but that means he ain't going to get bounced either, so that's fine. He can go ahead and bounce the Devoted all he wants. But now, even then, trying to think about what my outs would be for this game, I don't have many level 3s in the deck. So I know, like, just doing this and seeing the board he has, I'm already in trouble. So Midge now saying the guy, what am I doing? He's just going to swing at the Devoted. And 10 will hit, so I go searching for a Devoted. And the fact that I have to search through most of my deck there kind of might hint to him that I have that, unless it's like those top 5 cards. You never know. That's the risk he takes. But once I swing with the Devoted, that's a dead giveaway, but I missed the Jackal. Really needed that to hit just to take some strikes off the board, but now it's just, especially because the Jackal's going to be bounced. So I'm about to lose my army right here. This is plus 10, plus 12 on my 10 AC and 12 AC characters. So he swings and kills them before that. So let me just remove my entire army from the game, from the board, and then play that extra Devoted. So Midge sitting there looking at the rest of his hands. He's moving up. We're thinking about moving up a res. But he's like, nah, screw it. Let me just bounce the Jackals. That's 2 wounds. So I'm like, all right, cool. Devoted going to sit there and hopefully get something out. But I got that 3rd Land Dragon in hand, a Loyalties Reward, and an Exhaustion. Or it looks like an Exhaustion. I can't even tell what it is. I don't think I ran Exhaustion, though. I don't remember. But, so I just got 2 wounds from a Wrath and a Halo of Fire, and then he bounced the Jackals, comes on up. Oh, it was a Sabotage. That was the other card. So that'll do it. Quick, easy 2-0 win for Midge. Traditional aggro just piles through. My defense was not strong enough, so Midge will get this W here. He moves to 2-0. I am now 1-1 in a 5 rounds of Swiss, so still feeling pretty good, but it's all right. But it was fun to play the Brymin deck. I know, obviously, I got my face crushed, but it was still a joy to kind of do that. No, Mitch's like, wait, let me see this craziness you got running here. So he starts kind of going through it. I start kind of giving him the spiel. But the Dorath deck, it's something we've seen before. It's very solid. And the ability to bounce a character, even your own, but also the opponent's, is just super strong because there's, especially against a good player, because there's so many possibilities you have to consider. And in the hands of a good player like Mitch, too, it's just going to, it's even better. But that'll do it. And this is it for round 2. So stay tuned. I got the other rounds coming your way. This one, I think this next one's going to be a little longer. So don't worry about that. You'll get more. I know this was a quick one, but there you go. A little quick Warlord action for you guys. So thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Check out some of my other videos here on my YouTube channel. Check out my Twitch, twitch.tv/NirvanaTool as well. I stream live whenever we play. But looking forward to seeing you. Thanks for the support. And with that, you all can have a good one. Take it easy.